Hey guys, today we're taking a look at pickleball paddles from bigger tennis companies. We tested out paddles from Dunlop, Head, and Wilson. Let's get into it. Let's start with Wilson as they have been around the pickleball scene for a bit, and look at what they've been cooking up in 2026. The two paddles we gotta take a look at are the updated Wilson Vesper and the Blaze. Wilson launched both of these lines over a year ago, but back then they had polypropylene cores, and now they've revamped these lineups to have foam construction. We'll go with the Blaze first, which is a typical 16mm elongated paddle that has a floating foam core. For metrics, this is on the heavier side with a swing weight of 123 and a twist weight of 6.45. The Blaze I thought was a fine paddle. It sat in the all-court range for firepower and had a denser feel than other paddles. For firepower, it was similar to paddles like the Flick F3, 6-0 Coral, and Friday Aura. So it's basically another all-court option to the foam market with a denser feel like the F3. That said, it's priced pretty high at $249 retail, which is higher than the other all-court paddles with similar performance, and it doesn't have a durable grit texture. But still, for what it is, the Blaze 16 is a solid all-court foam option that I didn't have any complaints against performance-wise. The Vesper, on the other hand, is the paddle I wasn't a fan of, despite its cool design that resembles a tennis racket. While the handle and shape do feel nice, unfortunately, the performance of this paddle isn't built for pickleball. The throat hole does give off a sleeker look than the Sucker Power Airs, but like the Power Air, the throat hole and edgeless design mainly hinders the performance of the Vesper. For metrics, we got 116 and 5.6, which are below average metrics for stability. The Vesper does have good maneuverability, but that doesn't make up for its lack of performance in other areas. When you go with the throat hole plus edgeless design, the sweet spot is inferior to standard paddles that do have edge guards, and those paddles can also have similar swing weight numbers but better stability. The power and pop was also lacking on the Vesper, making this an all-court leaning control paddle that's fast with below average forgiveness. Honestly, I don't know who I recommend the Vesper to. While it does have a cool design and it does strive to be something new, it doesn't really have a place in the market. There are other paddles out there in the control space where you can get equal levels of maneuverability but with better stability at a lower price, as the Vesper does retail for a higher price as well. Next, let's talk about the Dunlop paddles. I will say I was impressed with Dunlop because they're definitely a company that did their homework before making their paddles. With the info sheet they sent us, we can tell they have consumed review content and know the terminology and words us reviewers look for. The ones I got to try were what they call the foam, hybrid foam, and the honeycomb, but so far I only spent time with the first two. The first is the floating foam core, while the second is a thermoform paddle with foam-filled cells like the Spartus Olympus and the Hudef SCF1. Both are standard shaped paddles, and for the metrics we got 107 and 6.35, and 114 and 6.8 respectively. Now, while I did say I was impressed with Dunlop for having done research, unfortunately I think their paddles are a miss here. For starters, the stability is low on both models compared to other standard paddles on the market. Dunlop didn't maximize the allowable dimensions by going below the typical 16 by 8, and they went thinner on the width. Between the two, I prefer the hybrid foam one better. Even though that one is advertised as the all-court option, it had more firepower than the foam power option. Likely because the foam one is thinner at 14mm and needs to be weighted up, but still, in stock form, the foam paddle didn't have a great performance. While quick in the hands, it was more of a control paddle with stability that was well below average for its shape. It had a flimsy and springy feel and just felt okay. The sweet spot and power was higher on the hybrid foam, but overall both paddles felt very lacking in performance. While I do applaud Dunlop for trying to come out with multiple paddles with different types of construction, unfortunately the ones I tried weren't that great. I do think they are on the right track though, and look forward to what they come out with in the future. Last, let's talk about the new head gravity. For metrics, these were below average too in stability with a swing weight of 111, but a very low twist weight of 5.3, which is very low for an elongated paddle. While it is slightly thinner at 15mm, these numbers are well below what we typically see, especially the twist weight. It uses their Triflex core where they have the foam for the majority of the paddle core, with some polypropylene at the top with more foam surrounding the whole core. Unlike the previous Triflex, this one actually has a raw carbon fiber surface, which is a big improvement over the smooth face of the old model. Unfortunately, that's the only improvement in the models, as the performance was still subpar on the gravity. This new model plays stiffer and you have less of the dwelly trampoline feel of the old model, but it still has below average stability and a terrible sweet spot. Even with perimeter weighting, this is just an all-court leaning control paddle, and everyone who tested it out during my play sessions was not impressed. While it is nice that Head is attempting to innovate with a Triflex core, unfortunately, I do think they need to move on and make something different. So overall, I do appreciate these tennis companies trying something different to come into the market, but they come in creating paddles that aren't optimal for pickleball, but rather tennis. In tennis, you have bigger strokes and impart a lot more spin, so you want rackets that are more aerodynamic. In pickleball, the grid doesn't offer as much bite as tennis strings, and the strokes used here are more compact and flatter. So shapes like the CR3s and the Vesper unnecessarily cut off parts of the paddle to make them more aerodynamic, when in fact it's better to have something standard like the Blaze, which offers better stability and performance for pickleball. To be honest, these big tennis companies in pickleball don't need to do anything special. They're already established brand names that the average person knows, and if they just create paddles that are copycats of existing ones on the market, they can already sell well due to their brand name. Wilson has the right idea with the Blaze, but if they instead had that as a power paddle, or if Dunlop and Head released SLK Era or Pro 5 clones, they'd already sell well, but that's just my advice. Anyways, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on the next one.